Hey guys, Rob from Georgia here with you, aka VHS82 apostrophe, with another episode of my ongoing X-Files exploration. All 11 series, all 11 seasons. There you go. Here, episode 16, Young at Heart. First drops or airs February 11th, 1994. Directed by Michael Lange, if that's how you say his name. Now, that's interesting. I don't know if you'll know or that name will be familiar to or not, but in 1988, he directed Elvira, Mistress of the Dark. That's interesting. In 2 episodes of Freddy's Nightmares. Remember when that was a TV show? So this guy's dabbling in a little horror, and that's pretty cool with me. I love that. And Scott Kaufer writing. An interesting episode, one that we get to see for the second time, the cigarette smoking man, although he's not said to be that in this episode. He may just be an agent, but at the very end, he is there nonetheless. And Jerry Hardin reprises or comes back as Deep Throat in here and to dismay even further a dismayed Mulder. And again, this episode does pretty well at just deepening the just the hypocrisy or the corruption of just the bureaucratic apparatus that is the CIA, FBI, all of it. It's all a mess. It's all a mess. You can't trust. That's why you don't trust anyone. Trust no one. Young at Heart is an interesting episode, and this one really focuses around Mulder much, I think. It really deals with somebody he had put away, who is said to have died in prison. It's interesting. We open up though with a scene in a federal penitentiary where we'll see this character later on in the episode, but he hears, I think, screams or something, and he's able to leave his room. I'm not sure why he can leave his cell, but he leaves his cell, and he peers into the I guess it's the area for where the doctors would be and stuff, and this guy is performing some ad hoc surgery on one this is agent John Barnett, who is our antagonist here. The guy that Mulder had put away is there, and he's getting operating on. He sees the doctor. I think this is Ridley, right? Ridley. Oh, I didn't write his name down. That's weird. I didn't write his name down. Pretty sure it's Dr. Ridley, though. And taking his hand off. Now, we find out later what he's doing, but he confronts the guy who's, I think, in a wheelchair, who had wheeled in. He confronts him, basically tells him, keep your mouth shut, with a scalpel to his throat. Not the nicest doctor in the world. So he sends him off, but as he's about to roll out of the room, he looks back and he sees his buddy, I guess they're buddies, blink his eye or something, so he knows he's alive. He knows he's not dead. So flash forward, I want to say, what is it, like 4 years maybe? Mulder gets a call from a buddy at a bank robbery scene and says, man, you need to come down and see this. So of course him and Scully go down there, and there's a note left by our bank robber in question, a little bit of a personal note to Mulder. Seems like what we have forensically, although Mulder can't believe it's true, is his old buddy John Barnett, who he had helped put away, his seemingly back from the dead. So from there on out, it really is kind of an interesting cat and mouse game that has a kind of unique, I don't know, it's I don't know, it almost at times feels like it should be more espionage / spy movie. I don't know. It just has that weird vibe. It feels different than other X-File shows, is what I'm just trying to get at. It has a different sort of vibe about this sort of cat and mouse game that now begins to happen. And of course, Scully sort of kind of gets sucked into this, and Barnett makes it, and we do find out, because eventually there is a confrontation with the doctor, who he has since disappeared, comes out of the woodwork to find Mulder and Scully to basically let them know that, yes, I was doing these experiments, and Barnett was part of the experiment, trying to enhance human life, de-age and then allow, and so it is the kind of this conspiratorial sort of knowledge that the government is going to be after, and they are after. But apparently Barnett has stolen it from the good doctor, so he has what the government wants. And so there's this great moment between Deep Throat and Mulder, where Mulder is just like, you mean to tell me the government is actually trying to bargain with this guy for this information? And Deep Throat's sort of like, come on, man, this is the real world in action. And that is sort of dismaying for Mulder in a way, because I think it's just a reminder that you just can't trust anyone, and you're not going to be able to trust anyone. And the show's really cool, because it sort of weaves your way towards a finality or a confrontation, resolution, where Mulder, who there's some loss of life, because when Mulder has a chance to kill this guy the first time, he can't pull the trigger because FBI code of conduct, I guess, whatever, forbids you to fire a weapon in a situation where the guy has a hostage, because you might injure or kill innocent bystanders or the hostage, whatever, right? And so Mulder will get another opportunity to revisit that. And I think in light of the deepening corruption he's seeing, it drives him to do what he feels like he should have done the first time, because one of the people whose life is lost, his son, in fact, Mulder goes to a football game. His little guys are out there playing football, kind of like my son is now, and watches him, and he knows this boy's been orphaned, and he sort of works on that. Is it his fault? What if he just pulled the trigger? What if he pulled the trigger? You never know what could have happened had he done it. But in the moment towards the concluding moment of this episode, towards the end, he gets to sort of make up perhaps for that decision, and maybe in light of the corruption and everything else, chooses a different pathway. This time he chooses to pull the trigger, and ultimately it works out in the end. But this is where you end up in the the hospital operating room with the cigarette smoking man bent over, screaming at this guy who's dying on the table for this information that is going to, that basically is, I think Dr. Ridley said, he who hath the fountain of youth has everything. And so, but there's a great moment. This is the first episode where Mulder actually kills someone, which is interesting. And Scully actually gets shot, but thankfully she has her armor on, bulletproof armor on, and so of course she makes it that out. And so, but it creates for an interesting moment yet again between these two, as these two just begin to really draw closer and closer and closer to one another. And this character is one of the better ones, in the sense that as an antagonist, he wants to make Mulder pay, man. He really wants, and so much of what's driving him is revenge. Old-fashioned story here in terms of revenge. But then again, governmental conspiracies and plots and the Deep Throat, and then opportunities to perhaps mend past mistakes, if that in fact was a mistake. It's hard to say it was a mistake, because he was following protocol when he didn't pull the trigger, but as a result of not pulling the trigger, a couple people died. And so it begs the question, that moral decision that you just have to make sometimes. There are always strings attached, for better or worse. And you don't always get a second chance to make amends for those choices. But here, of course, in the X-Files, Mulder gets a chance to sort of redeem himself. I shouldn't do that, because he really does, I think, redeem himself in the sense of, this guy should have been killed the first time, and now he has been. And so we can move on into the next X-File. Episode 16, man. This is good. This was good. And this, I'm not even sure what comes up next, because I didn't think to look, and this ends another disc, and we roll into another disc for episode 17. There's only, 24 in a season? So I think I had a forecast of November 22nd would be the end of season 1. I may take like a week off for that one. I don't know. I may in between weeks. I don't know. Or seasons. I don't know. I haven't decided yet. It just depends. Maybe I won't. I don't know. Jump right into season 2. All right. So anyways, X-Files, man. Rolling out. This was a different feeling X-File, but it was good. It just kind of felt different. It was, I don't know, had an interesting vibe to it, and an interesting director who has had his hand in a little bit of horror, which is pretty cool. So anyways, whatever it is that we're wandering into, we'll see you next week. As always, man, go Bills.
This is not a dream. Not a dream.
We might be useful to you.